So, podcast.
Poddy.
Sponsored by the official drink sponsor, which is quite nice.
Of IT.
Yeah, literally, this is what powers the server downs.
Pretty much. It's way more awkward than I thought it was going to be.
But I tell you what, this Revival CBD energy drink is absolutely delicious.
Oh,
God, I feel revitalised and
I feel revived.
I tell you what I don't feel.
Have
Any
loads-
THC.
Good point.
Oh.
Oh look, there's 0 THC.
Yeah.
I
Or
feel-
sugar.
Oh. There's quite a bit of caffeine though.
There is, which is what we need.
Yeah.
I've got
Sets me up for a real good day of earning cash.
Sets me up for a great day of blagging through a podcast. I think that's stupendous. So,
Oh my god.
what are we doing? Why are we doing a podcast? Why are we doing a podcast? What are we doing? the two least charismatic men on the planet
Pretty much.
decided to do a podcast.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, why are we doing this?
Just to get a bit more, I don't know, to be honest with you. For a laugh. One, for a laugh.
Yeah.
Two, I don't know. There isn't a two because one is great.
One is so
One
good.
is just
Yeah.
fun, yeah.
Is this one of your famous Greg ideas that comes to you and then you instantly send out teams saying, I think we should do this, and then I sort of put it into practice and a week later you've forgotten, and then it comes to you and you're like, let's try not to swear, flipping heck, we're doing a podcast.
It's exactly that.
It's exactly that, yeah.
Basically.
It's a solid idea though. I think
It's not bad. I hope we can get our personalities across, or the personality of the company across.
Yeah.
And then, you find out a bit more about the individuals who work here, why we do it, what we do for us, obviously, and then how we can help businesses.
Yeah.
Just who we are as people.
And who we are, yeah. I think that's the hardest selling point is for any business, I suppose, to get. Have you noticed I've got a podcast voice now?
Yeah.
What's happened there? I don't actually speak like this. People that know me who watch this go, why does he speak
Why does
like
it sound like Steve Wright?
that? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, it's like the radio or something. But yeah, getting personalities across is always the hardest. You know, LinkedIn, you can put a bit of personality into it and all that sort of stuff. But this sort of stuff really lets people know that how much we care and a bit more about us kind of thing as people.
Yeah.
And for the 3 people that are going to listen or watch this, the plan is to get different guests on, different members from staff, maybe get some clients, suppliers, talk about the managed services world, talk about the journeys and the problems that everyone goes through, maybe even get one of our peers on as well from your group.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
I suppose that's a nice little segue into one of the sort of things I wanted to touch on. You do a lot of peer networking with ConnectWise and Evolve. Do you want to elaborate on that, what it is, why it's important?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So, I'm a member of the ConnectWise Evolve peer group. So basically essentially what that is a bunch of IT service provider owners. We meet quarterly. We'll go all over the place, London, Amsterdam, wherever, Copenhagen, It moves around, which makes it nice. You get to see a little bit of the city, not a massive amount, but the reason you're there is to network with the other IT service providers. 2, for some accountability and ownership. So it is completely open book. You go there, you basically upload your financials a few weeks before the meeting. Go there, they have all been then analysed by the other members of the group. These people are all in the same boat as us. They're like business owners, directors. They're having exactly the same struggles, and it's good to go take you out of your comfort zone, out of the environment you're in, meet some new people. Like we obviously, you and I will work through issues on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we work through them together, but sometimes it's good to have an external point of view as well. People who have been through the exact issue you've been through recently or in the past. This is what we did. This is how we've combated it. You should do this. Or have you thought about doing this? That sort of thing. So you're in a room for 2-3 days together.
Right.
That's where you get all that done, and then afterwards you network with them. we're all mates now, so
Yeah.
there's no awkward. No one's holding anything back.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
they're challenging. They'll be like, I think you should do this. And, even if it's a bit awkward, it is a bit awkward, but they are. It's the done thing in the group.
Exactly. And I think if you're not doing that in the group and not being completely open, talk about your problems, it's very easy. You see it in business all the time. Everyone celebrates their wins. All you hear about is how great this new client is, how you went to this meeting and it was fantastic, but everyone's really scared to share the down days.
Yeah.
And you and I know as well as anyone that there's a whole lot of down days.
Yeah.
And it's nice to go to those places, share a problem, and then 3 or 4 members of the group be like, you know what, I'm having the exact same problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've noticed a downturn in this, or this is a problem, or staffing stuff, and it's great. And it's like a crutch, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
If you break your leg, you need a crutch to walk, and if you're feeling a bit down and you don't really know where to go for answers, this is the place.
Yeah.
And it's from like-minded people with similar-sized businesses, but from the same industry.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So I think it also allows you to benchmark yourself and the business, not just the business, but you as a person. Obviously, we've got yourself doing that now. We've got Adam doing the service manager one. We've got Darius on the security one.
Yeah.
We've got Lewis doing. I mean, at this point, it'd probably be easy to say who's not me. Lewis doing the sales one, so it holds everyone accountable, which is good. But it also gives you, with the integration with sort of Smileback and things like that, we can see where we are.
Yeah.
And be like, we're pretty good.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think that's really important because it allows us to feed back to the team here that don't normally get that feedback. We can say, look, you're doing a fantastic job, and that's not me saying it. I can now prove that to you.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is where we sit. These guys have got 4 more engineers, and we're still there or thereabouts. I think it's really good. I think I've not really heard of that in any industry.
No, it must go on, and if it does, then I would recommend anyone
to join it. Yeah,
joins
absolutely.
it. 100%. But I mean, exactly what you said. But also, you can include things like products and services in that.
Yes.
What are you using that we're not, or new technologies, pricing.
Yeah.
We can benchmark. There's in my immediate group, there's 9 or 10 of us, but across the week that we meet, there's probably 50 to 100, I would say.
Yeah.
Various different groups meeting at different times, so you can benchmark yourself in terms of pricing across those, and therefore we know that we're there or thereabouts in the market.
Yeah. We're competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's funny just to go back and touch on software, which you mentioned. I remember the first time I went in the room, we were doing a chat, and we're talking about how we measure our customer satisfaction, and it's hosted at the ConnectWise offices, so everyone would go around the room, and I was like, me went first always. I was like, we use the ConnectWise, the surveys, and then just this deathly silence fell through the room, and I was like, I like that, and everyone else in the room was using Smileback, and I was like, and I remember literally getting my phone underneath the desk, texting you saying, we need to get Smileback. And then you replied and you were like, yeah, sounds good, get it in. And I just put it back down. I went for lunch, came back and was like, just like to let you all know, we've just purchased Smileback and we're going to be introducing that. And it's so crazy to think that we didn't have that.
Yeah.
We were getting X amount of surveys, very low. But with that little bit of feedback from them, I won't go as far as to say it revolutionised the business, but it gave us a metric, which we didn't have before. Before it was, people seem pretty happy. And we sort of relied on that, and Smileback, this isn't an advert for Smileback, but if you do want to sponsor us, that would be fantastic. It is your NPS and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I think little things like that's really good. And you get, for me as well, is unfortunately my group sort of disbanded, as you know, but you get friendships.
Yes.
I'm still friends with,
exactly.
certain people.
Yeah, we've got WhatsApp. That's pinging, that's kicking off daily. People posting not only issues but wins.
Yes.
Jez and Gary out on their boats and things like that. Just going off for a beer or whatever together, met in London or
just having a great time.
Yeah.
And as you know, doing this with 3 people, that maybe 4 now. Who knows? My old sort of best friend from the group is Harry from BCS, is now Adam's facilitator.
Yeah.
And what a great journey to see him on, but now he's gone through that and now he's upskilling one of our chaps.
Yes,
And it's fantastic, and I can now text Harry and get an honest bit of feedback and be like, look, this is where we want to work with him, and it's just great, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's good. So we've spoke a lot about that. I know there's a subject that you just want to speak about, so I think we just get that out of the way now. Talk to me about these mountains. Talk to me about, because I think it's important in these podcasts that we don't just talk all things Dufeu.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's good we get this personality across. Unfortunately, I'm extremely boring, and my idea of fun is, heading to the pub. But you, on the other hand, have sort of over the last few years sort of transformed into this sort of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. like high rocks climbing. I'll let you explain it. Tell me about this. What's happened? Why are you now this guy?
I don't know. I've always been into like sports, health and fitness, and even like back in the day, that's how we met.
Yeah,
wasn't it? So cage fighting, exactly.
Yeah.
So and it's always been sports which have been a little bit risky. Probably shouldn't be a business owner if you don't enjoy a bit of risk.
100%.
You have to enjoy it, but at least take it, if you know what I mean. So so and then I was thinking back the other day actually, like why I have started to enjoy doing these like going and climbing these mountains and things like that. And when I was younger, I was actually pretty fascinated, not to the point where it was the be all and end all of everything I did, but pretty fascinated with like Everest and like people who climbed it, and Hillary was the first person to climb it, and I've kind of not really focused in on it, but I went a different way with another extreme sport, and but I've always been kind of interested in that sort of, I suppose it's two things. It's one, putting your mind and body to something which eventually has a goal, summit, essentially, and saying you've completed it, and the other, I don't know what the other is. You probably have to edit this bit out. So
I don't think we should edit it out, because I think this is us.
Yeah, true.
This is how it is.
Yeah,
I think for me, being an outsider looking in, I think it's such a great achievement, and what it does is it gives not just the people on Facebook, but it gives the staff here a leader, and it's like, well, almost like, I'm only saying this for the podcast, I'm not really a fan of you anyway, but like an inspirational guy to look up to, if that makes sense. Like, wow, look at this guy. He's great at his job, he's got a family, and he's at the top of this mountain rappelling down like he's in the SAS or something. I mean, you can't use any tools, don't get me wrong, you've got your downfalls.
Yeah, good point.
But,
I can't put a sign up.
I don't know why we
I think, like I said, I've always been into stuff like that, and then there was a point where the business started, and it was, focus on that, all hands on deck. Not that I'm not focused on it now, because I 100% am, but there's a point where I just quit absolutely everything for X number of years, and then slowly kind of started doing stuff for myself again, playing rugby, going to the gym, and bits and bobs like that. And it wasn't until, I suppose, and I thought about like a friend of ours, Pete Vickers, who climbed Kilimanjaro years ago. Went to Wales with him and a few other mates, and kind of just helped him warm up for it, I suppose, essentially. And it had been in my mind that I'd love to go and do that at one point. So it wasn't until probably 2021 or end of 2020 when I wanted to do something for a charity, which is close to the business and close to us, and kind of we know the founder of the charity, John Hewitt.
This is Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes.
Formerly We Mind Kelly.
Exactly. So I wanted to do something for Kelly's Heroes and raise some money. Looked at Kilimanjaro. It was a bit of a long trip. It was like 17 days or something like that. Yeah. So I was thinking the missus ain't going to let me go away for 17 days. What could I do? Like, don't really want to do a traditional marathon or something like that. I want to do something that I would really enjoy doing as well. And I found the Mont Blanc in France, which was a 7-day trip. You needed to be marathon fit or higher in order to do it. At the time I wasn't, so I decided to get myself in shape for it and just go for it. Paid for the trip myself, managed to raise like a few £1,000s for Kelly's Heroes, which I was happy with. I think John and the guys at Kelly's Heroes were happy with as well. So, and then from there I kind of got the climbing bug a little bit, started bouldering over at the gym in Northampton and climbing. My kids enjoy it as well, which is good. So, and that is another thing actually. I think like your kids, or my kids at least, they do what they see and not what they hear.
100%.
If I tell them to do their homework, they're not going to do their homework.
Right.
But if I'm sat there on my computer at like 8 o'clock at night working hard, they're going to see that.
Yes.
And they're more likely to develop those traits in the future. That's what I feel. If you go home, you sit down and slob in front of the telly and you've not necessarily got any hobbies or anything like that, your kids are going to watch you doing that. And they're going to do the same thing. So no matter how much you tell them to do something else, if you're dragging them to football training or something like that, and you want them to be a professional footballer and make millions and do extra practice and stuff like that, they're not going to do it unless they see you doing it. So
if they see you slobbing around,
exactly.
Like,
So in terms of, I suppose, in terms of like the inspirational stuff, a lot of it is done for them, like to show them that you can do other things. Like that Bella leaves school today, she goes to secondary school, and this week has like been not an eye opener because I know they've been doing really, really well, but they've like got awards and all sorts between Ivy and Bella this week. And it's been wicked to watch. They're well into their gymnastics. I don't have to push them to do any additional practice. They're in it. They like love it. They like playing. They play the guitar occasionally when they want to, and I don't force them to do it. But then you come home and they'll have the guitar out, all sorts of stuff. They've got rabbits. Look after the pets on their own without being told to do it. And I feel like it's just because they watch what we do. Not just me, the missus as well. And they see that is how you.
That's how you,
things,
and that's how you get stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you. And I don't think there's anything particularly wrong in these kids or parents that don't do that.
No,
it's just different styles.
It's different styles. It is,
and we need all sorts of people to
let
it well go round. Absolutely,
100%. That's just So that's just kind of my style. When I was younger, my dad worked really hard. Like,
I remember.
Didn't see him often. He moved us up to Wellingborough when I was 13, so dragged me out of my comfort zone. And I think that was a catalyst in something, at least. I don't know. Gave me a kick up the backside. But I remember like being out to play when I was a kid. Like constantly out doing stuff. So that's where my sense of adventure's come from. My kids can't do that. We live on a street. We can't go out to play really. Because it's busy. So I suppose allowing them to do other things, and showing them that you can do things is one of the things.
And I think it's so important to get those life skills. I think we won't go too much into this, but you and I had that mutual hobby from very young. I remember catching the train to London with you when we were like. I was 14, 15.
Yeah, that's it.
And you were almost a guardian. But
I was only like 16.
But you were 16. But we'd go to London. Well, we'd go somewhere different every week on the train.
We wouldn't just go to London. We would go to like the ends in London. We would go to somewhere you shouldn't be going.
We should never go.
Literally.
Ever.
We get the train and then a bus, and then we'd walk or whatever, and then we'd just be in the middle of some random housing estate in London.
And we just deal with anything we were faced with. And I think I always credit that with a lot of the way I am in terms of just happy to go on holiday on my own. Or
that's it.
This is fine. I can just, and you're the same. People look at me and they're like, well, who are you going with? On my own. What's your plan? I haven't got one.
Exactly. Find
It'll
out.
be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's an adventure.
What do you mean? We do when we get
there.
Could go wrong. Yeah, well, it could. But it's not going to.
Exactly.
I'm not going to allow it to.
It
gets you into some situations, but and I credit that sort of stuff because people. I think if you belong to a group or a collective or are involved in rugby, football, extreme sports, but really into it, you develop this core friendship group
100%,
that you don't get normally, and it gives you skills and beliefs, and it gives you that inner self-confidence to be, I know people now that wouldn't catch the train on the road to London, adults, and they whittle and they panic and just get on there.
Exactly.
And when it stops, get off.
That's right.
And you've completed the mission.
That's right. Always the worst thing can happen.
There is nothing wrong. Let's not worry about that because there's nothing wrong with those people doing that. But I'm so grateful that we had that early immersion into this. Well, why would we not?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's just. And you and I both had, we know each other's parents well. We both had supportive parents that were like,
Yeah, exactly. Just go and do it.
I'm sure they had their worries internally, but never sort of projected that.
See you when you get home tonight.
Well, we didn't.
At whatever time it might be, or we might.
Exactly. And in the early days, we didn't even have mobile phones. You were the first person to get one, but that was years after.
Yeah.
So we were in London, 15, 16 years old, no communication, no money, no clue.
Yeah.
But we were streetwise.
Yeah.
And we knew what to do. But we were also brave as well. We were like, yeah, let's just go. This will be fine. So I think, I credit that.
Yeah, that.
And that allowed us to overcome a lot of hurdles.
Definitely. I think that got us where we need to be in terms of life skills.
Yeah.
In terms of business skills, Dave.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. We learned
a lot from Dave Goswell.
Yeah, Dave's one of the topics I've written down.
Is he? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So obviously I'm a mentor to us, but a boss first and a mentor, and then for me, he just has a way about him, doesn't he? Like you just have to sit back and watch it unfold, and then you almost think at first, what is he doing? Like, and then you're like, oh, okay, he's a very clever man.
He's actually. I mean, the fact that when you mentioned Dave, our smiles just came to our faces. Don't get me wrong, there was days working for Dave where you're like, sorry? No, this is, but you watch the man and you just think, wow, he's amazing. He had this amazing ability to mentor us both without it feeling like mentoring.
Yeah.
You thought that he was shouting at you or praising, and he had that uncanny way of, when Dave praised you, it made your week. I don't know about you, but if Dave said something to me like, really well done on that, or well done mate, wow, like I was just beaming. I was like, oh my god, this is, I'm good, this is amazing. But if you did something bad, well, you knew about it. Everyone knew about it. But you'd never try and do that again.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's it.
And it's great to see that he's now, sold that business, had a successful exit, did that, didn't rest, could have rested, didn't.
Yeah.
Went and took on the Olivetti UK branch, managing director position, big role, international company, did that, completely smashed that, of course. Small team, did a lot for a really small team. Exited that, and then finally has now retired, and he's providing for his family, and it just a real success story. I'm sure Dave, if Dave does see this, we will get texts calling us everything.
Definitely.
And he won't be happy, and probably contact the police in order to get this taken down, I imagine, and probably win. Of
course he will.
But that's just what Dave did. But I remember in the very early days of Dufeu, when you and I were becoming more competent at making decisions, but didn't really trust ourselves because we didn't have experience, and we used to get Dave involved for the answers, and Dave sitting on interviews with us and interviewing people, and there's a famous story of Neil, who's obviously been here since our first ever appointment, and he's still with us now, director role, which is great. Dave gave him a BlackBerry and said, can you set my emails on this? He'd made up the email address and he'd made up the password, and Neil had never worked a day in IT in his life. And Dave just sat there, and you and I didn't know this was fake.
No.
And Neil is literally sweating, knowing that this is like...
We knew that Neil had come from a cardboard box factory, and knew nothing about IT, so I was actually just sat there thinking, shit, this is going to go terribly wrong for Neil.
And it's, I'm thinking, I like this guy. This is the guy who gets the job. Please, Dave, don't... And isn't it weird how if Dave had said, don't take him, we wouldn't have. At that point we wouldn't have. But Dave said, even though obviously Neil unsuccessfully did this because it was impossible, said, that's the guy you want. And he was right.
Yeah, he was.
And now Neil's still with us and did a fantastic job, and a director. But Dave just had that ability to get people. And I don't really think there's anyone that, certainly in my era of working for Dave, that didn't like it.
No.
And as hardcore as, you had to be a certain ilk.
Yeah.
To work.
Yes.
For Dave.
Yeah, you did.
You
couldn't. You needed a bit of a backbone. And
you needed to be. You also needed a backbone, but you also needed to be able to take it. But you also needed to be able to give it. You needed to be like, no.
Yeah, he respected that.
Yeah, he did. And as soon as you sort of broke that mould, he was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I remember I went in for the interview with Dave, and I told him that I'd done tremendously at college, and I was like an A-star college student. Turns out I actually left after a year, and I was pretty terrible there. But Dave sort of asked me in an interview, he was like, who taught you? And I was like, Nancy. And he was like, I know Nancy. If I ring her, what will she say? And I was like, to say, what's that? And he was like, okay. Got his phone out, and at this moment I'm thinking, oh my God. Nancy had to used to pick me up from my house to take me to college
to get you there.
And I was like, I really want this job. I really want this job. Luckily she didn't answer. And I got the job, and then told Dave this story later on down the line. I was like, I knew.
Of course you did.
Of course you did, Dave, yeah. Of course you did. But he really helped us in the early stages with all the hurdles. And on hurdles, what hurdles do you think you and Dufeu have overcome that you never would have expected starting a business? What have been the biggest things that...
Getting employees.
Yeah.
I didn't like... Although when we started, I definitely wanted to grow the business into something which had employees, but I just don't think I'd thought it through.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, like how difficult it can be sometimes to manage them.
Yeah.
How much it costs for a start.
Yeah.
Like the development you have to give them. All sorts of stuff like that. That's one thing I really was a bit naive about.
Yeah.
Love it, but
Yeah.
was 100% naive about it.
Yeah.
I just thought when we started, we'd just be fixing people's computers, crawling under desks and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden we'd have a business and it would just run itself, and that sort of thing. Yeah,
it would be fine.
Yeah, it would be fine. Yeah. So that's one of them, definitely. Let's think. There's loads. There's going to be loads, but customers. I suppose, customers. When we first started, we had, we had people we already knew as customers.
The relationship was there.
Yeah, the relationship was there already. I feel like we're great at building relationships. We're great at keeping relationships, but sometimes finding those relationships is difficult, and we even experienced that now. Like it's just really difficult. Like in the IT industry, it's really difficult to get new customers.
Yes, you don't leave an MVP.
Exactly, you don't leave unless something disastrous has gone wrong. Price is not an issue, but is a factor up to a certain point. But if you've got that relationship and you trust that person, then what's a few quid?
It's worth it.
Exactly, it's worth it. You know what you're going to get. Better the devil you know, sort of thing.
Exactly.
But I think I still. Obviously, I've never really worked in another industry, but this has got to be the hardest industry to work in, surely. Surely. Literally, everything changes every day. Well, we have the same issues as every other business, compounded, because everything's changing every day. We're a service-based business, so we are constantly answering people's problems. People calling us with issues.
No one's ever rang in and said, "Hey, just to let you know, my PC is amazing. Today I've logged on, I've done my Excel, I've done my Sage, I've done this." No one does that.
Exactly.
They only ring us
for bad, exactly. Which we take and we fix and we move on. We take and we fix and we move on, and we advise on what might be the best thing to do. But we've kind of got all of that, as well as your day-to-day supplier issues that every company's got, finance issues every company's got, sales issues every company's got. And with the IT, because there's so many variables in terms of from the support side of things, we might be firefighting stuff. It might be all hands on deck. Like something might go wrong. We're not necessarily, say for example, Microsoft release a patch which is dodgy.
Which breaks everything.
Yeah, it breaks everything.
Yeah.
It's broken everything, literally. We're all hands on deck fixing that. We have a customer who the server fails. That's a firefighting issue. We need to jump on that straight away, as well as deal with all the other stuff that's going on in the business. But then there's new things, because there's cyber attacks, which we can only combat to a certain level or protect from to a certain level. We put as many layers in as we possibly can for the customer, or as many layers in as they want us to put in or can afford or whatever it is. But there's always new threats coming up. So from day to day, like things can change in an evening. Like, and we'll wake up the next day and something's changed. And we're firefighting something. Sometimes we know nothing about.
We don't know until it happens.
Exactly. That's it.
Exactly.
And it's that, along with all the other issues that other businesses have. Which makes me feel like being an MSP is like one of the most. Running an MSP is one of the most difficult kind of businesses or industries
Definitely.
to be in and do. Yeah.
And I think for us at Dufeu is the tech. You and I obviously come from a tech background. When we started employing, we had techs.
Yeah.
And they're all of a similar ilk, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not easy to manage, but into tech. Then we started getting backroom staff, back office, who don't know about tech for good reason, but they're a completely different person.
Yes.
They're a completely different personality. And all of a sudden we've got to manage all these people, and this person may have an off day, this person may be having a great day, and it's culminating all of that into a streamlined sort of thing.
Yeah.
Making sure, that we're balancing all these plates and everyone's keeping their plate spinning, but then someone may drop that, and for you and I, if the question gets to us, there is no further, we have to make that call. And in IT, that's fine. I mean, admittedly our skills are wavering somewhat, still great, still top tier, but there was, I think the challenges for me earlier, it was the backroom people. I don't know. If someone in the finance department had a problem, okay.
Yeah.
HR. I mean, I'd probably make the. Sorry, what? I can.
Exactly.
Option B. Go for option B. And I think it's fair to say that when you started, like you say, it was all great selling some laptops, setting up servers in my flat on a TV, and that was fantastic. It was going great. But usual us style, we did have a rough plan.
Yeah.
But it was kind of this big. Well, it'd be great to just have a big MSP, wouldn't it? Yeah. Let's do that. And now we sort of got there. And that's great, but I feel like we never really sat back and watched it grow because we were so in it, if that makes sense. Yeah. I remember for a long time, sort of, you used to hound me to get off tickets and be like, stop doing jobs I need you to do, sort of oversee the jobs rather than do them. And I was like, yeah, but the world will collapse, literally, if I don't do this. And I remember one day, I just looked around and I was like, I haven't done a ticket. When did that stop?
Yeah.
When did that stop? And I think because we didn't really stop and celebrate it is what drove the business early on to growth.
Yeah.
Because we were so heavily invested in it. There was nothing was more important.
Yeah.
I mean, even sometimes I look back and think we could have maybe put our families first a little bit more. But it wasn't the time for it.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't the time for it. It was... You and I both know if you emailed me at 3 in the morning, I'm emailing back at 3:01.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for my email.
Yeah.
And if it's by 3:05, you're texting me saying, "Have you seen my email?" And I'm like, "Sorry, mate, I was having a wee." I'm sorry about that. And I think that we still have that now, and I think that helps the team here see that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd never ever expect them to do that.
No.
Ever. In fact, I've had a word with a few people here about doing that and saying, "Look, just because I do this, please don't reply." And now you can schedule emails, so my word's open. It's way better. But I think that shows them that we care.
Yeah, it
and
does.
I think that's I think that's important. Just always happy to muck in and help when we can. I try and go to tech jobs. It's embarrassing, but we do that. Where do you think the MSP world is going to head?
Good question. Obviously, it's all talk of AI at the moment.
Yeah. We are actually AI.
We are. Yeah,
we're not even here.
Exactly.
You're on a mountain and I'm in a pub, and we're just artificially generated.
So I think, it's got to be about that. But there's been iterations like over our course of running this MSP.
Yeah.
It was like break fix, so time and materials billing, and it was just support for Windows XP and stuff like that. And then it turned to managed services where everything was like all inclusive, and you had to sell all inclusive stuff, and the technology changed ever so slightly, and then it was cloud.
Yeah.
And then or it was backup and disaster recovery. Everything was about backup and disaster recovery, and then it was cloud.
Yeah.
And now it's going from cloud to AI.
Yeah.
And AI, after watching the Microsoft conference the other day, some of the stuff like the ChatGPT Microsoft are going to be including in 365
That's right, yeah.
is going to be transformational for businesses.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to, I hate to say it, but it will replace staff, 100%.
Of course.
but people will
Not
need...
me, though.
No, of course.
Just clarifying.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You had a glimmer in your eye there, like it was me. So yeah, nice.
Hopefully me.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah. Fingers crossed on all counts for that. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's gonna allow for so much more kind of business growth, efficiency, productivity across the board, and it's got to be for the MSP. I think you've just got to get involved more. We're going to have less support tickets because of
100%.
it, is what I feel.
I agree.
So, in order to generate the revenue generating now and make the profits you're making, you're going to have to consult on it. You're going to have to learn the ins and outs of 365 from my point of view. Absolutely everything. Leave no stone unturned. Learn how to create complex flows in Microsoft Flow. Learn how to design Power BI dashboards and things like that. And because businesses don't know how to do it. They don't even know it's there.
No,
like they see Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint. And literally that is all they see. And for the most part, IT service providers, that's all they'll be showing them. Like it's so much work. Yeah, if that,
they don't even show them. They don't demonstrate that.
No, it's it.
It's just here it is.
Yeah, and and I don't blame them because there is so much else to do
Yes.
in terms of supporting the customer
Where do you
day
find
to
the time?
day. Where do you find the time?
And it's not even the MSP's time.
No, it's not.
The customer has to have
Exactly,
that.
that's right.
So you have to have two like-minded people, companies to do this. But people don't realise is that the Microsoft stack is so gargantuan. It's got 12, 15 apps, core apps, that all can talk to each other.
Yeah.
You make a form, Microsoft form, it can go into Flow, it can generate an email that generates a Teams, that goes into Power BI and pulls up statistics. You can do everything from this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
SharePoint. I mean, SharePoint has essentially started to replace the server we've seen. You know, you've got Azure or Azure. However it's from. I'm sure there will be people from America listening to this, so we should probably tailor Azure to them. But it's all there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's
doing that, and it's doing that in a secure environment as well.
Yeah.
The security's, that's just it's always been part of what we do. It's just over the past 5-6 years, it's become more difficult to stop these threats and attacks. Not necessarily more difficult. There's just more of them. And businesses are recognising that they're getting hit with ransomware and things like that. It's going to continue.
It will never stop.
It will never stop. So that will obviously be a major part of things going forward.
I think so. I think Microsoft, because they're such a behemoth, they have the ability to make these amazing tools, but like you say, very few people here, in our client landscape certainly, and I'm sure across the UK, don't use much of it.
No.
They type a letter in Word, they do some basic algorithms in Excel, and it works for them.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of generating revenue, the MSPs need to stop fixing things and saying, okay, I know what you're buying this product to do this, but what's your end goal?
Yeah.
What do you actually want to happen? Well, I'd love it if, in a make-believe world, if we could have all this happen. We can do that.
Yeah,
You're actually buying the wrong bit of software for that. You've asked for Word, we've provided Word. But where's your 10-year plan? What do you want this to be able to do?
Yeah.
And that's where the MSPs can consult, generate revenue, and be an actual true partner.
Yeah.
Not just a shop, essentially, or someone at the end of the phone that fixes something when it goes wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
It needs to be sitting in senior leadership meetings. It needs to be, C-level type thing, board meetings, predictions, forecasting, decision making at the heart of it, and really be part of that business and the journey. And I think that's where it's going to have to go.
Even with businesses who have their own IT teams and have their own IT managers, in particular just an IT manager, like these guys, whilst they're fantastic and they know quite a bit about the business they're working for, the line of business that they're working for, they again can't do everything. They're going to be swamped. They can't. They're trying to manage the network. They're trying to support the users. They're trying to keep up with technology. They're trying to keep the business secure. They're trying to teach people how to do stuff within 365 or whatever it may be, and they haven't got the capacity to do it.
Of course.
And again, that's where MSPs
exactly, and we flourish in that.
Exactly.
And we can cover holiday. It's the things. If you have a single IT point of contact, IT manager, great, probably doing a fantastic job in the business, knows the logistics software, the roof software, whatever it is, inside out, fantastic. Day to day is really preventing them from actually doing anything progressive.
Yeah.
They're just reactive, not proactive, because they just don't have the time. Whereas if we can shoulder some of that burden and be there, the little, just do the little bits here and there if they need us to, fine, they can focus on the big bit. Or some IT managers don't want to be sitting in these big meetings forecasting. We can take that and do that. And I think they can go on holiday that way.
That's it.
And know that they're in safe hands.
That's right, yeah. And then the business owner also knows they're in safe hands.
Exactly.
Because they've got a backup, if anything goes wrong, if that IT manager leaves or, whatever.
Exactly. So. And also a point of escalation. It's fantastic, and IT managers know a lot. Well, most of the ones I've met do. They will never know as much as we do combined as a business.
Exactly, yeah.
It's impossible.
No.
We have some geniuses here on different levels. There's, all of our members of staff know something slightly different, and not necessarily specialists, but have their niche.
Yeah.
And that's irreplaceable by one person.
Yeah.
And I think once you get, we're fortunate enough to have these relationships with a few clients of IT managers, and I think once you forge that bond and you learn how each other work, and we speak the same language. We'd never speak geek to an end user that's got a mouse problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what's the point. But the IT manager almost feels a sigh of relief and a bit of enjoyment. Because, I've gone to these meetings, client meetings with an IT manager, and they want to babble at me about SharePoint. They want to ask me about Delve. They want to talk about all this intricacies, which you can see them excited by it, and they've got someone to share it with, and they go back and share that passion with their boss, and their boss says, "Wow, they're invigorated by this.
Yeah,
this is great. This is a partnership," and that's where I think the MSP world is going to head a lot more. I think, especially with the economic sort of situation, employing people is expensive. Like I alluded to earlier, it's very expensive. But what if you don't? What if you employ us? For less money than one person, you get 20 techs. Yeah.
It's no brainer, surely.
Yeah, yes, this is a pitch. See what I've done there? I've wrapped this podcast into a pitch.
I like it.
I'm conscious we've rabbled for a little time now. Is there anything you want to talk about, discuss?
Not really. No, not on this podcast.
No.
We do a few more. I think we can go into depth on other things which aren't our thoughts on other areas of business.
Yeah.
Whatever, social media, again, personal stuff, sports, this, that and the other.
Yeah, I think so.
Just to bring a bit of personality out, and then for people who aren't necessarily interested in just MSP stuff, I think that'd be good.
Yeah, so right. So definitely be interested in us.
Yeah,
obviously. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Most people have probably got on mute and just watching us.
True. I'm surprised it probably zoomed in on me, in fairness.
That camera there is zoomed on you. It's literally, it's on you. It's it's properly honed in. And for the 5 now people watching, I presume, if this is good and goes well, we will get a better sort of setup with the microphone.
Yeah.
It's a bit rickshaw at the moment, but we didn't want to go full Joe Rogan set with...
Not yet.
Not for the first one. But yeah, let's wrap it up.
Cool, alright.
We should have some sort of strapline or tagline that we end it with. The good podcasts have that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we'll think about that.
I'll have a think about that, yeah, I'll have to. Nothing comes at all.
No, nothing. I'm just worried about getting off
maybe Drink Revival.
Yeah, Drink Revival. I wouldn't have been able to do this without this.
I definitely wouldn't have done.
I would have struggled. I wonder where it's available.
It's probably, let's have a look. Revival-lifestyle.co.
Oh, okay. Right. Do you reckon we should set all of our clients' browsers to this as the homepage? Do you think that would go down well?
That's a good shout.
I think we could do that. Tune in next time to see how quickly we got sued for doing that. Excellent. Right, let's end it there. Super.